So you're thinking about moving to Suwanee, Georgia. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the schools, things to do, the parks, all kinds of great stuff, all the things you need to know when you're considering to move into Suwanee. So last year I made a video about moving to Suwanee, Georgia, and so as we have gone through 2022 and we're approaching 2023, just wanted to do an updated version to give you some new information, some new insight, so I think you're going to like it. Hey, my name is Rip Pruitt, lovingly known as Rip the Realtor, and my channel is all about living and moving into the suburbs of North Atlanta. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button for me. Also, if you're thinking about moving, you got any questions, you need some help, reach out. You'll see the number on the screen. Guess what's crazy is I will actually pick up the phone, and if I miss it, I will call you back, but you can reach me directly through this number. So let's go ahead and jump right on in as we're talking about what it's like moving to Suwanee, Georgia. So now let's go into a little bit of the basics of Suwanee. So if you didn't know, here in Suwanee, we're a bunch of winners. Just kidding, but we do win tons of awards. So just to name a few, some really cool ones. In 2018, Suwanee was #1 for best public schools in Georgia. 2019, we won the top 10 places to live and to move to in Georgia. 2019, we are voted as one of the safest cities in Georgia, which is a great one. It's important when it comes to families. And in 2021, we were #2 in best places to live in Gwinnett County. And it may sound like, oh, that's just a county. Gwinnett County is huge. We're going to talk more about that later. But just to give you a little bit of reference, Gwinnett County has the largest employer in the state of Georgia. Guess who that is? Gwinnett Public School System. Largest employer in the state of Georgia. So Gwinnett County is huge. It's a big deal. Now, some of these accolades I mentioned in my previous video, but just to update, here just recently, in fact, just last month, Suwanee won 2 downtown awards for being an excellent downtown. And you can find all kinds of awesome things in downtown Suwanee. There's restaurants, coffee shops, there's shopping, there's a huge green space, an amphitheater where they have concerts. That green space has a splash pad where the water fountains are shooting out and kids are running around screaming and running through the water, all that good stuff. And on top of it, because of that great green space, they have all kinds of events, festivals there. So it's a no wonder that we got some excellent downtown awards given to Suwanee here recently. Something else to note about Suwanee is that Suwanee is actually in 2 different counties. So part of Suwanee is in Gwinnett County and part of Suwanee is in Forsyth County. Now there's advantages to both. Just a couple of quick ones. If you are in the Forsyth County side of Suwanee, your property taxes tend to be lower than if you're in the Gwinnett side. But also the Gwinnett side, the beautiful thing about that is that diversity rate. It is very diverse. In fact, it has a diversity index of almost 81%. What does that mean? If you take 2 random people from Gwinnett County and talk to them, they have an 81% chance that they will be of completely different race and ethnicity. So very cool, very high diversity rate, but a little bit more expensive property tax. Forsyth County, lower property tax. Both of them, you can live in Suwanee. Just depends on which side of Suwanee you're on. So now the location of Suwanee is just northeast of Atlanta. It's not real far. You can jump on Interstate 85, shoot straight down to the city from Suwanee. It's about a 30, 35 minute, 40 minute drive maybe, depending on if you're in the slow lane or if you're in the Peach Pass, you can pay extra money so that you can zoom in the fast lane on I-85. My opinion, totally worth it, but I also like to get to places pretty quick. The nearby cities around Suwanee that kind of touch Suwanee, Duluth, which also has a great downtown area. You've got Lawrenceville, who also has a great downtown area, as well as Beaufort also touches Suwanee. And guess what? Great downtown area. So there's a lot of great cities that surround Suwanee as well with tons of stuff to do. Suwanee is also close to Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier is a huge lake. All boats are welcome. You'll see houseboats there. You'll see sailboats, of course, ski boats, fishing boats, all kinds of different boats. There's actually some fun documentaries to watch on Lake Lanier because Supposedly Lake Lanier is the most haunted lake in the nation. Scary, maybe a little bit. Just so you know, I grew up on Lake Lanier. I've never been dragged down to the bottom by the Lady of the Lake. Cross fingers, knock on wood. But it's an awesome recreation lake. Tons of homes to live on the lake, but that is just minutes from Suwanee as well. All right, so now let's talk about the schools for a moment in Suwanee because they are top notch. It is a great place if you've got kids, you're thinking about raising your family here, letting your family grow up, and you're looking for a good school to put your kid into. We moved here around 7 to 8 years ago, and it was primarily because of the schools. We were looking for diverse schools and we were looking for top rated schools. And guess what? We found them both in one here in Suwanee. And again, that was one of the main reasons that my family and I moved to Suwanee. Both our sons go to top 10% schools in Georgia. My youngest son goes to Burnett Elementary. My oldest son goes to Hull Elementary. Again, both schools that are top rated schools here in Suwanee. Area Vibes give Suwanee schools an A+. Now, I wasn't a great student in school, but from what I remember, A+ is pretty stinking good. So we're going to go with as top notch. 58% better test scores than the national average. That's a big number. 58% better than the national average when it comes to school test scores. We have a 10% higher rate of high school graduation than the national average, as well as we are number 7 this year in best Georgia schools. Now, we were number 3. I'm not sure what happened between last year and this year while we dropped 4 spaces, but watch out for us. We're coming for you, number 1 spot. We're going to be there. Gwinnett County in general has some of the top schools, not only in Georgia, but in the nation. You'll see a few different ones kind of pop up. We live in the Peachtree Ridge cluster, which again, that high school is one of the top rated high schools in Georgia. So you really can't hardly go wrong with any of the schools in Suwanee. The public school system is top notch. There's also a few great private schools in the area that you can look at. If for some reason public school isn't your cup of tea, then there's also some options with private schools as well that are excellent choices. So we also know these days now get into a great college is not just all about grades. You got to be involved in extracurriculars. And guess what? That needs to carry on for us adults too. So there's a lot of great extracurricular type of stuff to do in Suwanee. If you got kids that are into sports, there's several training facilities, whether your kid's sport is baseball or football or basketball or whatever it may be, there is a sports specific training gym here in Suwanee that can help you out. If you're trying to take your kids to the next level, just trying to develop them more, we have tons of stuff like that. There's a lot of great local community theaters that your kids can get involved with, that you as an adults can get involved with as well. Our park system youth sport programs are top notch. For example, the football league that I am way more familiar with because I've been coaching my son's football teams for years. It's called the GFL, Gwinnett Football League. It is, I think it's either number 2 or number 3 largest football tackling league in the nation. So again, our youth sports programs are very great, very excellent. The theater programs as well. There's several art programs you can get into. My wife is an art teacher. There's also several music schools, so if your kid is more on the art side than the sports side, there's tons of options to get them into as well. All right, so let's talk about things to do in Suwanee. We don't want to get bored where we live, right? We want to find fun things to do, things to get involved with, all that good stuff. For example, we have tons of events. I'd mentioned downtown Suwanee. It's also called the Suwanee Town Green. There's always things going on. The Suwanee Fest is a huge festival. All kinds of fun things to get involved with there. Take the family out for the weekend to experience that. There is the Petite Le Mans kickoff party, which is, if you're a race fan, that's a ton of fun. We have farmers markets. Not only do we have your typical summer farmers market that everybody has, but we also have a winter farmers market, right? Farmers got to sell their stuff in the winters too, right? I don't even know if it's many farmers that show up, but we still like to call them farmers markets. But just being able to experience that year round is a very cool thing. We love farmers markets. There's all kinds of foods you can find, crafts, just just all kinds of things to get into there. So also I mentioned music earlier and just different opportunities to be involved with that. And so we also have something called the August concert, which hence the name. Guess when it is? You got it, August. So we just had the 18th annual August concert here on August 13th, which was the day before my birthday for all you taking notes for next year coming around, because a lot of you I didn't hear from. But August 14th, that's the important date. Day before, not as important, but is a great August concert. You're going to find tons of food in the downtown area of Suwanee, that Suwanee Town Green. You got Tequila Mama's, one of my favorites. Great Mexican food, great margaritas. You have Rita's, which is a great place to go to. The Brown Bag Deli. You've got Cafe Amico. Love Cafe Amico. You can get regular coffee or you can get fancy coffee. My wife likes fancy schmancy. I just drink regular coffee. But it's a great place. It's got whatever you need. It's got great pastries, which is one of my favorites with coffee. There's also the Seaside Oyster Bar. That's right. They have oysters. I love oysters. I got to have mine on a cracker, though. I'm not just a slurp it down kind of guy. I'm probably going to get some criticism for that. Not a real oyster fan, but I love them on crackers with hot sauce. The City Hall in Suwanee is one of the coolest buildings. I know it seems funny to talk about a cool City Hall building in this video, but it really is. And it's just right down in the center of that Suwanee Town Green. It's the anchor of the area, so you should definitely check out that building, because while you're there, there's tons of other things to do, tons of other places to eat, all that good stuff. You'll also find right there at the Suwanee Town Green is tons of places to live. So right downtown, they've developed all around it. So there's some great townhomes, there's some great condos, some great single family homes, all that are pretty new developments that are in walking distance to that Suwanee Town Green. So if you're wanting that full experience of living that downtown Suwanee life, it's a great option to move to there and now live, work, and play. As we continue to talk about Suwanee, I can't not mention the parks here are amazing. In fact, I've got a special surprise for you guys and invited a guest on today to talk about the parks. So please welcome my greatest decision and best hire ever for my business, my wife, Bonnie. All right, come on, Bonnie. I brought Bonnie on to talk about the parks because she likes to run. She likes to get out. The only time I run is when she tells me dinner is ready. So we're going to talk a little bit about the parks. Bonnie, why don't you tell us what are some of your favorite parks?
Okay, so my top favorite is Suwanee Creek Park. It's close to our house. It is wooded. I love to feel like I'm out in the woods when I run, but the other good part about it is it's paved. So you've got like a pretty smooth trail, but then it's also wooded. So even when it's really hot in Georgia, it's shaded there and it's pretty cool to run.
Well, and here's the cool thing about that Suwanee Creek Park is now they are building a biking walking trail. What is that called? They have a name for it.
I can't remember the name of it.
I can't either, but it's brand new. They're still working on it. I think it's called the West Bike Trail.
Something like that.
But it's a biking, running, walking trail that runs from Rogers Bridge Park up the road all the way down to the Greenway in Suwanee Creek Park. So now, and that actually even runs right in front of our neighborhood. So rather than Bonnie driving to Suwanee Creek Park, now she can just jog and I will still drive though. What other parks do you like besides Suwanee Creek Park?
Okay, so big fan of Sims Lake Park. Another great place to run. It's a much smoother course. It's not as hilly as Suwanee Creek Park in my experience. And then you can loop. There's a really pretty lake there with turtles. Our kids love to go and just, like I said, watch the turtles pop up out of the water. There's huge ones.
Yes, there are huge turtles. We used to have 3 kids. Now we have 2. One got eaten by a turtle. So be careful there.
Not true. But it has a great playground also. Another one that my kids love is E.E. Robinson.
Well, and real quick, Sims Lake Park, one reason I love that park is our son learned how to ride a bike there.
That is true. So again, there's a lot of flat surfaces there. There are a couple of hills, but there's a lot of smooth, flat areas that are really great for learning to ride a bike.
He may or may not have learned how to crash a bike there as well. Just saying. But you're also talking about E.E. Robinson Park.
Yeah, so that's another great one. Has a really good splash pad that we go visit in the summer and a really nice playground. And then, of course, Suwanee Town Center has a really great splash pad as well. And
if you don't know what a splash pad is, I don't know if that's a Georgia thing because it's always so hot and humid here. It is a concrete thing you can run across while streams of water shoot up all over the place. So kids are dying, laughing, giggling, trying not to get hit by the water, or maybe trying to get hit by the water because it's so freaking hot because it's the Georgia summer.
Great place to burn energy during the summer. summer and stay cool.
Another park that we're out a lot is Peachtree Ridge Park. That's primarily because that's where our oldest son plays football. That's where our football games. There's obviously a football field and stadium there. There is several baseball fields there. There's a few soccer fields there. It's a great sports complex park, while also it has trails that goes through the woods, and there's a track around the football field. So it's just another great park to be at, and a lot of youth sports for the Peachtree Ridge cluster area. That's where those take place. So Bonnie, to wrap it up, overall, what's your final thoughts, your summary thoughts on the parks in the city of Suwanee?
I love them. They're well maintained. They're well lit. You feel safe there all the time. And again, it's really great for adults and kids because there's things for kids to do. But then also if you want to just be able to go out and be in nature, it's great.
And also remember that there are several things that are nearby Suwanee, some great things to be involved with just minutes from Suwanee. For example, just minutes away is the Gwinnett Arena. Actually, they just renamed it now. It is the Gas South Arena, but there's tons of concerts there. The hometown lacrosse team of Georgia plays there. The hockey team for Georgia plays there. There's monster truck jams. There's just all kinds of events and conferences that happen at that Gas South Arena. As I mentioned before, there's other great downtowns that are awesome to visit. Duluth downtown, Lawrenceville downtown, Buford downtown. All of those have amazing shopping, food, just all kinds of recreational type of things to do, as well as I'd mentioned Lake Lanier is closed. Within an hour's drive, you can be in the Georgia mountains, hiking, exploring waterfalls. Like I said, Atlanta is close by if you want the experience of a bigger city and that nightlife. You're never going to come up short with things to do living in Suwanee. Now, of course, I can't do any video without talking just a little bit about real estate. So what does real estate look like in Suwanee? Go look up my video on, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to make you do that. I'm going to give you just a little snapshot of Suwanee. The Suwanee market is hot. It's continued to go up. Even in the midst of this market that people are saying is kind of cooling down, it has still gone up in home values in August. It's still continuing to go up. Right now, the average sales price for a residential detached home is just under $730,000. So higher than the national average. Now, keep in mind, that's an average price. So there are homes that are cheaper than $730,000. Of course, there are homes that are way more expensive than $730,000, but that is your average price of living in Suwanee. Great schools, safety, all these other things contribute to typically often a higher price of living. And so you see that a little bit in Suwanee as well. So if you're thinking about moving to Suwanee, I would love for you to reach out. I would love to answer any questions you may have, give you a little bit of insight from a local perspective of what it's like living in Suwanee. And so I hope this helps, and this just gives you a clear picture, or at least a clearer picture of what it's like in Suwanee and what it's like to be living in Suwanee. And don't forget to subscribe, and please reach out. Love y'all. And then one more important question before you go. What would you say too, as we're talking about things, your favorite things, the most meaningful things, what is your favorite thing of being married to Rip the Realtor?
I'm going to quote my favorite movie.
Okay.
Sleepless in Seattle, Tom Hanks. How much time do you have?